What's up, y'all? How's the sound? Let me get a video. Let me get an audio check. Somebody get me audio. Somebody get me video. Where are we at? Got my mic on. Video good. Thank you, Pete. Got the sliding door open. Is it an issue? Should I shut the door? Mr. Kelleher, thank you for tuning in, buddy. Glad you could make it. Pete, glad you could be here. Let's see who else we got in the house. Jamal, hello. Thank you for tuning in. Alright, sound is good. Cool, got the new mic. Quality should be there. Let me know if I should keep it, return it, exchange it. Let me know. I'm gonna have to move this. All right. Yeah, glad you guys could be here. So far we've got 4 of us here in the chat. We'll kind of wait for some people to kind of file in. Let's do a quick recap of what we had this week. Maybe we'll cover some of the topics from the videos, get to some discussion on there. Definitely going to hit some carrier news. Verizon's in the news for all the wrong reasons. AT&T is in the news for all the wrong reasons. T-Mobile's in the news for some negative stuff. So I'm definitely going to give it to them tonight. Let's see what else. We got to talk about some deals that are out there. Yep, definitely we're going to talk about Sprint for sure. I did do a couple of videos this week, starting earlier in the week. So I think we'll get to that. It's going to be some hardware mentions. We'll talk about the 5G smartphones. We'll talk about the misalignment between 5G technology and 5G hardware in terms of networks and hardware kind of at a disconnect. And yeah, we'll just go from there, and we'll definitely talk Qualcomm, Snapdragon, upcoming iPhones, upcoming Pixels. What else? Yeah, so those are some of the topics. So let's go ahead and formally get this thing going. It is August 24th, 2018. Thank you all for tuning in to the Sneed Mobile Tech Friday live stream. Now, I was initially going to be doing the live streams on the new live stream channel, but I didn't think that I got enough forewarning for the switch over to the new channel for the live stream. So because of that, I just went ahead and did it on the regular channel. But starting next week's live stream, I'm going to go ahead and start doing it on the Sneed Mobile Tech Friday live stream channel. So I'll go ahead and link that in my videos this weekend and then in the middle of the week. So that way everybody knows, everybody gets the heads up, and then we'll just start doing live streams there. So for the diehards, all of you out there that love the live stream, I'm going to have a dedicated channel just for that. And then we'll just do kind of like the regular weekly updates, announcements, things like that we'll do through the regular channel. So for those of you in the live chat, you guys get your own channel. You got to feel good about that. Feel special. So let me go ahead and see who's in the chat. We've got M. Keller, we got Pete Burrell, we got Jamal Matthews, we have Chanel 808, Hawaii, aloha my friend, and we got D-Gaff. Thank you for being here. Go ahead and make sure when you guys are popping into the live chat, just say hello. I can acknowledge you, give you a shout out here through the live stream, and then you know, say your piece, say whatever you want to say. Maybe you got questions, maybe you got some ideas, topics that you want to talk about. Go ahead and just throw them out there. So I think what I'll do is I'll start with some information and some topics from this week. We did a couple videos on hardware. So Sprint's got a partnership with LG. They're going to be launching a 5G smartphone next year. It's going to be scheduled for a H1 2019 release, which is cool. We'll be glad to see it. 5G networks should be kind of getting going there at that point. There were rumors of it being Samsung, the first to have a 5G phone, but it looks like it's actually going to be LG. Unless ZTE can somehow figure out a way to get into the market. They've been having a hard time lately from a political side. So let's talk about that. Also, in terms of T-Mobile, they had their big announcement where they're going to be forming a partnership with OnePlus 6, or OnePlus. So they'll be selling OnePlus for the time being, I guess. You know, no limit to the deal they have. They are scheduled to be selling the OnePlus 6T. That would be like the mid-year upgrade for the OnePlus 6. And that's a big-time deal because OnePlus makes a great device, and they've never been in carrier stores in the U.S., so that would make them the first carrier to have their phones in their stores and probably online also. Let's see what else we got going on. The new channel, obviously, for the live streams. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that, so look forward to that in the future. After this week, there will be no more live streams on this channel. It'll be to the live stream channel, so Sneed Mobile Tech live streams. We also got some information on Qualcomm and what they're doing with chipsets and how they're going to be 5G compatible. Looks like the Snapdragon 845 has been doing pretty well for all the phones this year, but moving forward we got the Snapdragon 855, which was supposedly going to be 5G ready, but that's probably not the case. There's going to be a totally different chip that's going to be 5G ready. Maybe it's the Snapdragon 860 or 865. We don't have details yet, but the X50 modem that is 5G compatible won't be in the Snapdragon 855. Incompatibility due to the process that they use, 10 nanometer versus 7 nanometer for the newer processors, so incompatibilities are going to prevent that from happening. But we still should see some 5G chips. We're going to see 5G phones in 2019, no matter what. I don't know from which carriers for sure, who's going to be the first. We don't know any of that stuff, but that's what's coming. So end of quarter 1 2019, mid-quarter or mid-half 2019, so we should be seeing something there. What else? Verizon, they're in some trouble. So there was a negative thing that happened during the week. Apparently, some firefighters who relied upon Verizon for coverage to stay connected to their LTE network in response to a fire, apparently they were deprioritized and throttled. So it actually wasn't deprioritization, it was throttling. They had exceeded their use of 25 gigs of data on a plan, and I guess they were throttled by Verizon, a network management ploy, and they ended up preventing them from getting to a site on time, or getting some type of information critically at a time when they needed it. And so they're in a lot of a big problem there. A lot of negative press, a lot of negative feelings towards Verizon for that. And now Verizon has since apologized. They've made statements about it. They've talked about how, like, they're not going to do that anymore with first responders. They're going to have special deals for the first responders. That looks terrible from Verizon's end. And it probably looks good for AT&T because they have a first responders network. So, bad look for Verizon. That's on them. That's probably something they should have addressed a long time ago, not for something like this to kind of creep up and then, here it is with all this negative press. So, that's kind of a big story, and we'll get more to that in a second. So yeah, Pete says it's an arse move to upsell firefighters with cell phones. I agree. First responders probably, first of all, shouldn't have to worry about connectivity. I think, if anything, they should have priority in terms of the usage of a network. I don't understand what Verizon was thinking there. How could they qualify them for throttling? It just doesn't make sense. Whether or not you want to give them a separate plan or different restrictions or allowances, I should say, that should have been in place a long time ago. The simple fact that they had this in place and never addressed it is actually kind of sad. I know the state is suing Verizon, so as Pete stated, and they should. I think Verizon should pay a hefty fine for this, actually. I know AT&T has been fined for similar things like this in the past, but AT&T is in the good graces of first responders. They have a dedicated network for it, so that's not going to be an issue for them. I don't know. You guys, you know how carriers are. You know how telecoms are. They don't care about people's feelings. They don't care about providing them with best value. They only care about the bottom line. I bet that this particular plan was simply over money. The fire department wanted to stick with some old legacy plan because that's how much was budgeted, and then they ended up getting throttled at a very inopportune time. And it was just a matter of time till something like this happens, and then it gets the negative press. Then Verizon wants to apologize and probably give them whatever they want, and make it right. So I'm glad to hear that they're being sued by the state, and this will be something that people can see. Carriers being exposed for their horrible operations, business operations, they should be highlighted for sure. Pete chimed in, this is awesome. I'd take a 3G speed if a firefighter is fighting a forest fire in the area. I would take a network shutdown if a firefighter was saving somebody or putting out a fire at a home or a business or something like that. My network usage could definitely wait. I'd get kicked down to 1G even if it was, if I had to make an emergency call, I could. That'd be fine with me. So, yeah, I agree, Pete. Should not have happened. Definitely deserve that they're getting negative press for this, so I'm with that. There's a couple things I actually want to research. I'm hearing from Verizon actually that they're going to have some new systems in place to allow them to have the priority from this point moving forward. But I think it's at the point where it's like too little too late, and this negative press should be highlighted for sure. You know what, Pete, that's big time, because that shows that they have like union representation. So if the state's going to fight on their behalf, they're going to be lawyered up, and they're going to really press them about this. I think they're going to get some money out of Verizon. There's going to be a lawsuit within the millions, obviously. They'll settle, and they'll put a contract in place, and they'll put some rules in place for how the network is going to be managed when they're using it to give them priority for sure. But it goes to show you how AT&T was so smart to think about this, to get that first responders network contract. That's big time for AT&T, and now this is going to be positive for AT&T. I'm sure they'll come out and say something, whether it's in some form of an ad or some marketing thing on TV, and put the negative spin to what Verizon's been doing, and they'll highlight this. Let's see here. Yeah, of course, Pete. The state's going to go after Verizon big time. I think they're going to press them hard. I think they're going to go for a heavy fine. They're going to be suing them. I think they're going. I mean, if the FCC wants to do something about this, they could. But they're just so carrier friendly and so telecom friendly. Who knows what they're going to want to do? M. Kelleher says, it happens, they should pay for what's needed. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly. I didn't read the whole report. I don't know exactly to what extent their network was compromised. I'm not sure what the needs of the firefighters are, but it'd be nice to have them on LTE. No concessions, obviously. No slowdowns. Of course they should have priority, definitely. These are firefighters. They respond to emergencies. Number one priority, obviously. Pete says they're on an unlimited plan. Yeah, put those in parentheses, buddy. An unlimited plan. They should have a first responders unlimited plan. Something that should have been in place a long time ago. It should not be being addressed now, after the fact of a fire or whatever, some kind of a response. So, yeah, some kind of unlimited plan. I think it said they were being deprioritized or throttled after 25 gigs. I mean, it should be pretty easy for a firehouse to reach 25 gigs. You've got a bunch of people in a firehouse for 24 to 48 hours at a time. They're going to be using data, and even just in responding, just leaving the firehouse, right? They're going to need LTE. So of course they're going to need their LTE. Like I said, I think AT&T prospers on this. I think T-Mobile will make a big stink about this at some point. I can see John Leisure coming out in some form of a tweet or something like that. Maybe he has already, saying that their network can't handle it. They had to deprioritize or throttle the fire department. He'll use it to some extent for sure, and I'm okay with that. I hope John does something like that, because this is a stupid thing that Verizon did. I can't believe something like this was in place to happen. Yeah, Pete, and you know what? To have the most accurate GPS functionality, you know, you use GPS obviously, and then you also use LTE to help coordinate it. You're going to get the best response that way. Um, DGAF says all carriers need to come up with plans, just in case for first responders. Yeah, I'd say so. But you know, the first responders have to be on their plans and have to coordinate it. They have to, you know, let them know, hey, this is what we need from the network. Can you provide it? And what's it going to be in terms of our budget? I think that's what it is. DJ Gamer, which I think is Landon. Welcome, my friend. He says supposedly they were slowed down to 2G speeds. Yeah, Landon. That's completely unacceptable. First responders should never be throttled to 2G speeds. There's just no way that should be happening. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm not sure what I don't know what the situation was. I don't know if they were responding to a fire. I mean, it could have been a number of things, right? They could have been responding to a leak, a main break. I mean, who knows? It could have been a gas issue. It doesn't necessarily mean a fire, but all of those things are emergency responses. So, yeah, I mean, hell if I know how they could move those guys into 2G. I just don't understand. Yeah, M. Keller has said AT&T made a separate network for them. So it's actually not really a separate network. Well, okay, so it is a separate network, but when the network is needed for first responders, they get priority on that network. The network itself is still used by civilians and people on the network that, you know, are paid subscribers on AT&T. So M. Kelliger says, will I switch now? Yeah, man. You know what, to be honest with you, and seriously, I'm being truthful, Verizon, they do things I don't like. In fact, all carriers do things I don't like. There's not a single carrier that I could say is a saint or perfect or have perfect business practices, but they're the best performing carrier where I am, and they're the best performing carrier where I travel. So I have no reason to really leave them. I don't really have issues paying, you know, with them. They don't mess with my bill. I feel, you know, like it's good service. But it's things like this that makes me think twice that if another carrier was to be similar, like really, even like really close to the performance of Verizon, I would switch. Definitely. But they're going to have to catch up because honestly, in my experience, Verizon's been the best carrier for a long time. So I'm not going to switch necessarily because, I mean, I'm just being honest. It's based on performance and my needs. Let's see here. Mark chimes in. You should get the Sprint Kickstart. All right, guys. So I wanted to mention this. So thank you for mentioning that, M. Keller. Sprint brought back the $25 Kickstart, which we didn't expect to see it really. It kind of came out of nowhere. I think it was about, I don't know, it's been about 2 months maybe. It's been at least 7 or 8 weeks since the Sprint Kickstart. What they did was they offered this promotional pricing for a plan. It's a real basic plan. There's nothing special about it. There's no hotspot data. It's 480p video resolution. It's 500 kbps of for audio streaming. I mean, there's restrictions to the plan, but it's $25 per month, and really the only thing you got to do is set it to auto pay, and I think you got to bring your phone. I think that's really all that it is. So set it to auto pay, bring your own device, make sure it's compatible with Sprint, and you're paying $25 per month for a line of unlimited data with Sprint. Now, you know, I mean, there's obvious restrictions there, but $25 a month for postpaid service from a national carrier is a hell of a deal. Like, if you need an extra line, and you just want to have one, you know, maybe you just want to have some flexibility with your devices on the go, want a secondary line for business or for personal, whatever, $25. I mean, you can't beat that. This is not like you got to have 4 lines to qualify. No, this is like single line, $25 per month, set it to auto pay. I mean, there's taxes and fees, but like, what is it going to be, $32? You know, that's a great deal. So That's out there. If I were you and you were interested, I would probably take advantage of that very quickly. That's probably not going to be around a while. The last time it was like maybe a week. I think it was 7 or 8 days it was available. So take advantage of that as soon as you can if you're interested in that. Let's see here. Steve Sanchez, what up, my friend? Glad you could make it. Thank you for stopping by. Pete chimes in. Sprint is ass on this. Oh, man. Everybody always dogging Sprint. They definitely have their markets where they're not that great, but there are some markets where Sprint's really good, and then having that $25 unlimited plan makes a lot of sense. You know what, Landon? Landon's saying, I hope T-Mobile offers discounts for the first responders like AT&T does. Yeah, they should. I know that Verizon does, like, not only do they do military discounts, but like for firefighters and medics, I think they do like 15 or 25% off. I don't know if it's just accessories. I think it's plans that qualify too. So that's good to see. Yeah, M. Keller, I agree. Sprint's charging $25 on their Kickstart plan. Again, if anybody needs a second line, $25 a month for Sprint postpaid is a great deal. I don't care what carrier it is, $25 a month. Unlimited talk, unlimited text, unlimited LTE. I mean, obviously you'll be deprioritized after a certain threshold. Obviously there'll be video resolution restrictions, but I mean that's a great price. You can't beat that for a postpaid carrier. You can't beat that for a prepaid carrier. Let's see here. Let's see what Pete's got going on here. See, he's got different price structure for large organizations. My first line is $80 on T-Mobile, but they average 30 after the 8th. Yeah, so they give huge discounts for businesses, you know, after you have 5, 6, 7, 8 lines, 9, 10 lines. I mean, obviously they're going to take care of you on that. So yeah, I agree. Business, you know, they give you some different pricing and plans. Let's see here. Flyboy Rex, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Flyboy Rex asks, can I transfer an AT&T prepaid account to Sprint for the $25 deal? I think it's got to be postpaid. I don't think it can be prepaid. That wouldn't match the offer because they're offering you a postpaid plan. So Flyboy Rex, if you're leaving AT&T postpaid, you would probably qualify. Now the only issue is the device you're bringing there compatible? Because a lot of AT&T devices in the past have always been GSM, and the LTE bands are different also. So a couple things to consider. Pete, you got 20 lines on your plan? All right, so you have a legitimate business with like several employees. Oh, you can. Got some good credit, man. They'll be willing to give you 20 lines. Oh, in case you guys were curious, sipping on some coconut water. It's delicious. That's some darn good credit right there, buddy. Pete's got that 820. He can buy pretty much whatever he wants. They're giving him loans. They'll gladly give you that money. Spend. Kelleher's got the Sprint Unlimited Basic, 5 lines for $120. That's a pretty good deal. Can't really beat that. Tyler, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Glad you could make it. He chimed in, when is the Stylo 4 getting software updates? So for those of you that don't know that piece of hardware, that is made by LG. I would say that LG's not really well known for their software updates, at least not on a timely basis. And I'm talking flagship phones. If you're going to be talking about prepaid phones or some of their mid-range and budget offerings, those phones don't get software updates sometimes ever. So like, let's say for example, you know, your Stylo 4 is running Android 8.0. or Android 8.1. You'd be lucky to get a software update. It might be stuck on that until the end of time. You'd be happy to get a monthly security patch on that type of device. They just don't really support those phones, and even their flagships like the G7, the V series phones, they take forever to send out those software updates. So I wouldn't hold your breath, honestly, Tyler. Unfortunately, they just don't support their phones. I mean, Samsung has this problem too. I mean, Samsung at least does security patches, and LG does some of those too. But operating system updates, probably not going to be there on that device. Even though it's a really good device, probably not. First Twin just chimed in. He's got an LG G6. He said LG takes forever. And the LG G6 was a flagship. Is that phone, what, a year and a half old maybe? I don't know if you got maybe one software update in a timely fashion, maybe? That's really weird, Tyler. So you're saying that the Stylo 3 got updates, but the Stylo 4 has not received it? I mean, that's just bass backwards, I guess. That's just weird. Ooh, Mark M. Kelleher chimes in, the Sprint Kickstart port from prepaid to. So actually, if that's true, M. Kelleher, you could port over from any MVNO and any prepaid carrier. Maybe you want to consider getting that $25 port over to that Sprint deal. That's pretty good. Let's see here. DGAF says, does anybody know when the Samsung is pushing out the Bixby 2.0 update? So the Bixby 2.0, I think it's running in the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. I'm guessing that the S9 and the S9 Plus would be the first ones to get it, other than the Note 9. So, I don't know. I would probably be expecting it within the next month, probably. They might have some bugs and kinks to work out. Maybe that's why they haven't put it out there. Let's see here. Landon says, nope, I'm still at 7.0 and my Stylo 3 Plus. At this point, Landon, you're probably not getting software support from LG on that. Probably not. I would recommend ROMs. I don't know what type of ROM support is there for that device, but that's probably your best way to go. And First Twin, yeah, you're probably stuck on Oreo 8.0. I don't know. I'd be surprised. And by the way, the updates, the most recent Android updates, have been really, really good. The phones are running great on them. Battery life has improved on a lot of devices. Stability has improved on a lot of devices. Apps aren't really crashing that much from it. So that's good to see. Yeah, XDA developers is the best way to go for custom ROM support. Those guys on there are great. They'll get you hooked up. They'll get some software support for you if you need that. Tyler says, does the Stylo have the treble? So treble's that new Android feature, and it involves like updates and whatnot. I didn't see it mentioned, so not sure. Pete says, still wish they had good updates for my tablets. Man, I have a Google Nexus 7 that sits in my drawer, and it was a great device, but it stopped getting updates after like Lollipop, like Android 5.0. All right, we got 14 people in the chat. If you are just popping in and you want to say your hellos, go ahead, give me a what's up, give me a hello, give me whatever. Let me know that you're in the house. So we were just talking about some software updates, so we've already been all over the place. We talked about the Sprint $25 Kickstart, so they're putting that promo out there again. Take advantage of that, $25 a month. And it, from what I'm hearing, it's including prepaid and postpaid. So if you want something like that, it's a great deal. So check into that. All right, so something I wanted to mention, because I wasn't able to really get into the comment section this week on a couple of my videos, was the one about the 5G hardware. So I look at my comments all the time. I read what everybody has to say. I really appreciate the interaction in the comment section of my videos, You know, I don't just ask for comments and then not respond. I read everything and then I try to reply to as much as I can. And there was a person, a commenter, who had a comment, and they were unbelievably, they were talking about like how they already had 5G. This was really strange to me. I didn't really understand what they meant by that. But that's why I actually made the video. I made the video for people that think that, you know, 5G's here, 5G is on the horizon. We still have ways to go. You know, if you look at the title of the video, I called it, you know, 5G mobile, pump the brakes. You know, everybody's excited. We want to see the technology, but we don't have the hardware and we don't have the networks. So everything's just at this point, you know, it's all just, it's hype until we can actually see something in place. So that's why I made that video. And I think most people understand that, but there are some people that are a little bit, they're a little bit too amped up and they're a little excited by it. So I wanted to make that video so people could watch it and just temper their expectations and pump the brakes a little bit. Another video I made this week was about LG and Sprint having a partnership. So this is actually really good news. So one of the videos I did on Patreon was about Sprint and their upcoming 5G network and the great potential that Sprint has. Sprint's assets are probably some of the most valuable assets for 5G that I could think of out of all the carriers. Now Verizon has the track record. AT&T has assets, spectrum. I mean, all that's true, and they have money, right? They're a huge conglomerate company. And T-Mobile has shown the pedigree that they're willing to really put and invest into their network. But truth be told, Sprint has the greatest potential in 5G. Their spectrum allowances, the type of spectrum they have, is so valuable to 5G. Like, their speed capacity in terms of potential far exceeds anything that Verizon can offer, far exceeds anything that T-Mobile can offer. There's a reason why T-Mobile wants Sprint so badly, especially when it comes to 5G. That's really what this is about. T-Mobile's late to the 4G LTE party. You know, they're still playing catch up, but they're doing a good job, but they want to get ahead in 5G. So this move, this Sprint merger, is really about the next 3 to 5 years and building out their 5G network to become a legitimate competitor and actually get into the elites. They want to pass AT&T. They want to pass Verizon. They want to be a legitimate contender, and that's why they need Sprint. You know, so that's what it's about. Now, Sprint itself, as a company, they still have to operate as if the merger can't or is not going to happen. They still have to build out their network, continue to support their customers, you know, figure out this voice over LTE rollout. They've got to work towards 5G, obviously, continue to densify, fix their capacity issues in their big markets, and try to fill in their coverage gaps around the nation. So they're going to continue to do that. And as they're doing that, they're spending, right? So, you know, that we could see a legitimate, nice little rollout of 5G for Sprint. It's not going to be huge, right? They're not going to have it all over the place. But, you know, there might be a handful of markets, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7 cities, you know, 2018, 2019, where Sprint's 5G is really, really good. The problem is it's just not going to be abundant. You're not going to find it in a lot of places. So I'm excited to see Sprint kind of lead the way in this. I'd love to see Sprint become, like, the most impressive in terms of the high capacity speeds that their 5G can offer. So I know what Verizon can do. I know what T-Mobile can do. I know what AT&T can do. But I'm excited to see Sprint do something, seeing that they're going to have a legitimate 5G phone in partnership with LG. And then, you know, the resources that they have great potential in 5G. So I'm excited to see them make some noise in 2019. M. Keller says, I dread 5G. You know what? So I have a couple issues with 5G from the respect that I don't know what the pricing is going to be. I don't know how they're going to market this. I don't know how they're going to sell it. I mean, there's some legitimate health concerns. People are worried about health, obviously, millimeter wave spectrum. research is inconclusive. We just don't have all the answers we need. And plus, a lot of what we're hearing from the companies about 5G is just they're just surface details. There's nothing concrete. Standards are just wrapping up. It's just we don't have as much answers as we really should have. So it's kind of disappointing. I'd like to know more, but there's not much out there. Let's see here. M. Keller says just keep 4G, save cash. I say, well, 4G LTE at some point will not be enough. There's going to be more and more capacity required. You got to keep in mind, M. Kelleher, there's going to be so many new uses for networks. Like, you're going to have autonomous vehicles. They need capacity. They have to be instantaneously connected all the time. Latency has to be damn near zero. Speeds have to be super, super fast. Capacity cannot be an issue. 4G LTE has extreme limitations when it comes to latency and capacity. So it's just not realistic to say just keep 4G LTE. It just can't be done. I don't care how much spectrum you have. I don't care how many towers you want to put up. At some point, the 5th generation networks are going to be carrying the capacity load of our usage. And I'm not just talking smartphones, right? I'm talking mobile, automobiles. I'm talking, biomedical issues. Like they need connectivity. There's just so many different applications. 5G is going to have to get the job done. 4G LTE can't do it. At some point, it's going to be the case. Tyler has a good question. He says, what happens if the merger does fail? If the merger fails, and this is just me speculating, and I don't think it's going to fail, but if the merger fails, I think Sprint gets desperate. I think Sprint will continue to try to improve the network, but obviously they're operating at a huge debt. They'll be looking for another merger. They'll be looking for somebody else. Because before they struck the deal with T-Mobile, they were in talks with cable providers. They were in talks with Dish Network. They were in talks with Comcast and Charter. Those talks would probably resume. So yeah, I think they'd be looking for a merger with another company. SoftBank wants to unload a lot of that debt. $32 billion. Right? They're trying to get rid of some of that, and at the cost of giving up a lot of control in their company. But they're willing to do that to get away from some of this debt. $32 billion, man. It's crazy. M. Kelleher says, Sprint calling plus is great. Voice over LTE shouldn't be a problem. I think as with all new technologies, though, M. Kelleher, I think there's going to be some growing pains. I think there's going to be some times where Sprint customers are going to be calling customer care. Sprint customers are going to be complaining. They're going to be online. Keyboard warriors going nuts, talking about how they're going to leave Sprint because of dropped calls. It's going to happen. Me, for one, I'm just hoping that, the growing pains are short, the network improvements happen swiftly, and the voice over LTE becomes more dependable sooner rather than later. The nice thing is that they've seen the issues that Verizon had in the past, and they've seen what AT&T and T-Mobile have dealt with as they were developing their voice over LTE, and they can kind of apply some of those learned lessons to, I guess, shorten the growing pains that they'll have. So hopefully that's the case. And actually, Sprint has said that several times. They said that they believe that, the other carriers rushed voice over LTE at the expense of customers. Yeah, and like I said, M. Kelleher, you think LTE is fast now because it meets our needs. I'm telling you, in 5 years, 10 years, LTE will not be enough. LTE will be good in terms of grand coverage, like for, expansive regions and coverage. It will not be able to support our LTE needs. It will not. We're talking autonomous vehicles. cars that are driving themselves, they need capacity. They need next to zero latency. LTE cannot do it. 4G LTE cannot. Simply cannot. Tyler says, what's going to happen with the new Sprint CEO? Sprint improvement. So, to be honest with you, Sprint, they haven't been running the Sprint company poorly recently. It's been a string of bad investments from before the newest leadership. So, like the Radio Shack debacle, the Nextel purchase. It's a lot of the decisions from like the last 7 or 8 years since the initial LTE build-outs. They've been having problems. So their debt has just accumulated from bad business decisions. Their marketing, their pricing has been attractive. Now the network is starting to improve. They're investing in it. I don't know. I actually think they're trending up. The problem is have they done enough damage to where they can't actually recover? Which is why if the merger does happen, all of this is water under the bridge, and it just becomes big T-Mobile. Oscar, what's up, buddy? Glad you could make it. Thank you for being here. M. Keller says, I see what you're saying about autonomous cars. Seems dumb. Ask an Uber driver. I actually used to be an Uber driver, man. I drove for Uber for a couple of years. So yeah, and actually that's, I think the entire business plan for Uber is eventually replacing the drivers with just autonomous vehicles. And they probably want to be the owners of those vehicles, right? Tyler says, is there going to be a 5G LTE? They're not really going to call it 5G LTE, they're just going to call it 5G. And it's going to use different types of spectrum. So millimeter wave spectrum, I don't know, maybe they'll call it 5G MM, 5G MMW, I don't know. If it gets like a 3-letter connotation. Breon, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Glad you could tune in. How do you feel about AT&T's vision for HBO? Will it become worse off or worse better? HBO's always been pretty successful. I find it interesting that HBO is, I don't know, man, like AT&T basically gives HBO away for free. They tie it in with their DirecTV Now for cheap. They tie it in with the Uverse. They tie it in with all of their bundles and their plans. I don't know. They don't seem like they're trying to get a premium for it. I know it's an add-on and they make you pay for it with some plans, but I don't know. The vision is kind of strange. I don't know. I actually got to go back. I missed Captain Punch. What's up, buddy? Glad you could stop by. Thank you for tuning in. Glad you could be here. Richard Castillo, hello, my friend. Glad you could be here. Thank you for tuning in. Good to see you. Richard says, I thought about getting the Note 9. I have an iPhone 8 Plus. I think you would be upgrading big time if you went from an iPhone 8 Plus to a Note 9. The Note 9 just offers so much more than what the iPhone 8 Plus has. Now, they're similar in terms of form factor. The Note 9 is a big Android with a great display. You get the S Pen feature. But it is $1,000 to start. $1,250 if you upgrade the RAM and the storage. You're probably still recovering from the $1,000 for the iPhone 8 Plus, or it's about $850 or $900. So I don't know. Unless you got the money for it, like money's not an issue. Go ahead and upgrade. I think it's a great phone. Tyler says or asks, can T-Mobile survive without the merger? Yeah, T-Mobile can absolutely survive without the merger. The problem is T-Mobile doesn't want to survive. T-Mobile wants to lead. T-Mobile wants to take initiative in the market. They want to pass AT&T. They want to pass Verizon. T-Mobile is ambitious. T-Mobile is they're trying to do something unprecedented, unseating a big carrier. So yeah, I think their ideas, their goals are much larger than just survival. When you say survival, I think of Sprint. When you say T-Mobile, I don't think survival. I think potential. That's how I feel about them. Let's see here. Saif Yassin, I love you too, buddy. This is the first time somebody told me they loved me in the live chat. Why not, man? Why not? I'll tell you what, Richard. You definitely don't have to buy your Note 9 outright. You could finance it. Something tells me that the payments would be about $40 a month, but you'd be on installments for a couple of years. But yeah, I mean, it makes it more affordable on a per month basis. You wouldn't have to cough up $1,000 right away. So that's an option. Samsung, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint all sell the Note 9 for the same price. Obviously, you can get it like a buy one, get one if you have multiple lines and you want to upgrade with some of the other carriers. But if you're just looking for a single device, not buy one, get one type of deal, I would just buy from Samsung. That would be my way. M. Kelleher says the thing is, okay, so he's talking about brain cancer. All right, so let me just go ahead and say this. So radiation causes cancer. All right, it increases the risk of cancer. It doesn't matter what type of radiation it is. It could be microwave radiation, it could be gamma radiation, it could be X-rays radiation. All of that stuff has cancer risk and increases the likelihood of getting cancer the more and more you're exposed to it. So I think, when we think about 5G networks, and obviously the data is inconclusive, the studies are inconclusive, we don't know everything we need to know apparently. Even 4G LTE, even 3G, even 2G, all of that stuff, all radiation increases cancer risk. Maybe you're saying because it's millimeter wave and the intensity is higher, that we should be more concerned, and that's warranted. I'm with you on that, but the risk is no different. So if people are up in arms about 5G, why haven't they been up in arms about 4G? Like, to me, it's just silly. It's like saying, well, I smoke 2 packs a day, Billy Bob smokes, half a pack a day. We're both at cancer risk. It doesn't make a difference, and because the data is inconclusive on the studies, I mean, what are we really arguing at this point? Can we just agree to a disagree and say, hey, yeah, there's risk, but there has been risk. It's not anything new. I have a bigger problem with the food we eat. I have a bigger problem with GMO. I have a bigger problem with the stuff that's being sprayed in our skies, right? I mean, 5G is risk, but look at all these other risk factors. I'm just saying. Let's see here. I gotta catch up. Richard says, what do you think about Boost Mobile Prepaid? Boost Mobile Prepaid is a very, very valuable plan. Like, they give you great value. What do they do on 5 lines for 120? Unlimited. I think they're doing 30 or 50 gigs of hotspot data. It's a really, really good bargain. I like it. The only issue, Richard, is if your area is poor with Sprint, it's going to be poor for Boost. So, got to consider that. M. Keller says, I have what may be considered a weird question. My Sprint plan includes 1080p streaming, but I want to be limited to 480p to save data. Can I get account services to do this? I'll tell you what, M. Keller, I mean, if you're watching YouTube videos, just go into the upper right-hand corner, right over here somewhere, and, hit those little dots, and you could put it to 480p if you want. And I actually think it's commendable that you try to reduce your resolution and reduce your data usage. That's kind of cool. I can appreciate that. Breon Bowser says, I heard the next iPhone could be dual SIM. I don't know why, good or bad. So the reason it might be dual SIM is maybe they're trying to get the iPhone into international markets where dual SIM is like really, really important. People in India, people in China, often they have 2 SIM cards because they use one for like data only and they use the other one for calling or calling and data. So the flexibility is really important. Also, if you have a dual SIM phone, you could take your regular SIM with you traveling internationally and then just add a SIM within your phone and keep yours in there. So I mean, it has its flexibility reasons. I don't think the United States versions of iPhones really need dual SIMs because we just simply don't use our phones that way. So to me, dual SIM flexibility is good. I'd love to see the iPhones be dual SIM. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think that's a rumor that just the wheels got turning and people kind of believed it, but I don't think it's going to happen. It would be unprecedented to see them do that. Although I think it would be pretty cool. And M. Keller, you're not weird about being conservative, man, and try not to be wasteful. It's commendable and it's cool, man. I dig it. Let's see here. Chanel 808 LTE in the next 2 years will only be good for voice over LTE. And of course he said that jokingly. No, LTE is going to be the anchoring for our networks for the next decade. It's not going anywhere. We need it. You know, M. Keller, a lot of people still only have 5 gigs data buckets. Not everybody's gone the route of unlimited. I mean, they're obviously the quiet minority, but there are still people with those older data buckets and stuff like that. Chanel says dual SIM will be for the Asian market where people have 2 SIMs. That's what I was thinking. Same thing. I agree. Oscar says we'll find out April 29th next year if the T-Mobile and Sprint merger will go through. Could be later. April would be the earliest. Could be June, July. Could be the end of the year. Could be postponed. New concessions could be raised. Who knows? Let's see here. M. Keller says Sprint Moto Z2 Force for $120. I actually saw that. That's a really, really good price for a very capable phone. If you're looking for a flagship from last year and you want an Android at a good price, that is a great price for the Moto Z2 Force. Alright, I'm just trying to catch up in the chat, guys. Sorry for the dead time. Let's see here. Oh, I wanted to let you guys know that there have been some Verizon network upgrades in my area, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So I think what I'm going to do is at some point either this week or maybe even this weekend, I'm going to try to do it. I found some really, really, really tiny compact micro cells that were installed on some light posts in my area. So I was visiting my parents this week, and you know, I used to live with my parents, so like I remember Verizon service there, and you know, I used to get like 1 or 2 bars, and it was LTE. The speeds were okay. Sometimes they would be slower, and sometimes they would be, you know, fine. This week when I went to go visit them, my signal was full and the speeds were at like 100 megs per second. So I knew that there was a network upgrade somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I wanted to kind of share with you guys what they look like and what it does for the performance of a network in case you haven't seen these before. It's basically looks like a small compact little black box. They're painting them black, by the way. They want to try to make them a little bit more conspicuous, try to hide them and make them more stealthy. So they put them on the corners of streets, like by light poles and utility poles, because they don't want to make added infrastructure. And that's pretty much what the cities are making them do. And performance is great. Speeds are really fast. The capacity is fantastic. And I found like 3 of them in the city that my parents live in. And this is all in like the last couple weeks. And actually I asked my mom, I was like, hey, did you see any trucks? Did you see any equipment? You see, you know, some workers out on the street? And she said, yeah, she confirmed it. So I know that it was Verizon that installed them. So I'll be checking that out for you guys. I'll post a video or do a live stream for it at some point this week. All right, let's see what's happening here. Gotta catch up. M. Keller says, how much data are you using now? Now you got Wi-Fi. So My data usage kind of depends. Now that I'm back at school, the school year started, I'm on the Wi-Fi most of the day. But actually, I don't really use my phone much during the day. I do like my attendance online, so I use the Wi-Fi for that. Sometimes I use LT if the Wi-Fi is being kind of crappy at school. Um, Typically, I use about 10 or 12 gigs a month during the school year. About 13 is kind of high. Uh, Outside of the school year, my usage increases a little bit by like a couple gigs, so I go up to like 15 or 16. So that's kind of what I'm using for LTE. And the reason for that is like I could get away with using 5 or 6 gigs a month, but because I have the unlimited, I just kind of freely watch videos and use my GPS and you know download apps like kind of freely. I want to use my phone the way it was designed to be used, which is connecting to a network and using it as I please. So I don't really think about my usage anymore. But actually, when I used to care about usage and I had data buckets, I would use typically somewhere between 3 to 5 gigs. And then, like, the moment I got unlimited, I started using 11, 12, 13 gigs. And I think the highest I've ever used in a month was like 25 gigs. I think that was one of the months where I just got rid of Wi-Fi and I just wasn't using it. And I wanted to see what Verizon's deprioritization was like. So I actually, on purpose, wanted to get over that 22 gig threshold. And actually, when Verizon first did the unlimited plan back in February of last year, even when I had gone, past 50, I think it was, I completely disconnected from Wi-Fi, so I was like at 50, 60 gigs. I was never getting slowed down or deprioritized. But as more and more people jumped on the Verizon Unlimited, the network started to get strained, and I could feel it even before they started deprioritizing. So they had to deprioritize, or else the network was going to be really, really slow for pretty much everybody. Oscar says, have you heard band 14 with AT&T is pretty awesome. Some are unlimited to this band and Cricket phones. So band 14 is a really, really nice band for AT&T. It offers some pretty good speeds, some pretty good capacity. The problem is it's a new band, and I'm not sure all devices are compatible with it. So, what's the point if you have a 2-year-old phone that doesn't support band 14? What does it matter that AT&T offers it? So I think within the next year, 2 years, more of the devices will be connecting to that band, and they'll take advantage of the speeds and the capacity. I'm not even sure which bands band 14 can aggregate with. Carrier aggregation is really what gives LTE the speeds. That's what gets you the capacity. So like instead of getting 10 or 20 megs down, you'll be getting 40, 80, 120 megs download if you have the carrier aggregation. I'm not sure what band 14 is doing. I'll have to look into that. M. Keller, thank you, man. I'm glad you're enjoying the channel. Appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. LoveTech47, hey, buddy, what's going on, man? Glad you could be here. So Tyler says, what is T-Mobile going to do with small cell deployment? They're actually, so like, T-Mobile's usage of small cells is, they use it a little bit more sparingly than some of the other carriers. AT&T and Verizon have strong networks. They've got tons of coverage. Their small cells are strategic for capacity. And sometimes for dead spots, but not really. It's usually for capacity. T-Mobile's usage of small cells is strictly capacity, where they have like areas of high usage, and they don't just put them anywhere. They're very strategic about that. So they're not to say they're frugal or whatever, but they're just careful about what they deploy, because obviously they've got a tight budget that they got to operate. They've got, they've allocated $8 billion or $8.5 billion for network improvements and capital expenditure, and they can't just hastily just launch all the deployments of these small cells. So they've got very strategic plans for that, because they're dumping so much money into the 600 megahertz band 71 and a lot of the mid-band upgrades. They're more concerned with that stuff than small cells. I think within the next 2 years, though, you're going to see a lot of small cell deployment, probably more so next year. specifically when it comes to 5G. That's what the small cells will be big for. Chanel 808 says the S9 has band 14. That's good news. So if anybody's got an S9 and you're on the AT&T network, you've got compatibility there. That's good. Yeah, M. Keller, I use about 15 gigs per month or so. Now that brings up actually a good point. So we've been talking about compatibility, what types of phones are going to be usable with certain networks. One of the things that people often ask me is like, what phone should I get? My advice is buy whatever phone you want right now, because 5G is not really going to be a substantial thing for another couple of years. Obviously, we've got residential 5G this year, and then speculation that mobile 5G is going to start deploying next year. So if you're looking to upgrade a phone and a 2018 phone piques your interest, go ahead and buy it. If you're on a 2-year upgrade cycle, that would mean you'd be upgrading middle of the year 2020. By then, we should have something of a substantial 5G network, for a lot of carriers. So if you're looking to upgrade, don't feel like, oh, I gotta wait, 5G's coming. No, go ahead and upgrade if you want one. 5G won't be substantial. It may not even be in your area for 5 years. Who knows when they're gonna put it in your city. So just, go ahead and make those upgrades if you want. Tyler, so 600 megahertz is a specific type of spectrum that T-Mobile is utilizing for band 71. Band 71 is a low band frequency that offers really, really good coverage for T-Mobile. It covers a large geographical space. So, if you have T-Mobile or you've experienced any usage on the network, a lot of times there's a lot of areas with a lot of dead zones. Places where the signal is weak, places where the signal doesn't reach far with towers. 600 megahertz addresses that issue. So, we're talking, places like the interstate, places like the country, rural areas, they're receiving a lot of band 71 upgrades. Now, the problem with band 71 is a lot of devices that people have been using for the last couple years, or even longer, they're not compatible with band 71. They don't have it. So a lot of people that want to take advantage of band 71 because their regions have been receiving it, they can't take advantage of it because they have old legacy devices. So if you're going to use T-Mobile's band 71, you have to get into a newer device. And oftentimes they're newer flagships. I think with the exception of some LGs and some Motorola's and some Samsungs, they've got compatibility to band 71. So the next time you buy a phone, if you're on T-Mobile, make sure it's got band 71 coverage if you need it in your area. So something to consider. Pete says, I'm killing for a 600 megahertz. Meaning you need a device that has the compatibility, or you need it in your area, you need T-Mobile to get it there. You know what, M. Kelleher, I don't understand. All right, so for the strange occurrence that somebody should be using a terabyte of data per month, I don't know, maybe they don't have Wi-Fi. Maybe they're just abusing the network out of spite. Hey, I'm paying for the unlimited, I'm just going to use it. I don't know, I just don't use stuff like that. Like, I've had unlimited for a long time. I try to go over 22 gigs, and sometimes I can't. Like, you legitimately have to watch a ton of video and stream, like, shows and movies, which are things I don't really do. And because I have to actually be connected to my Chromecast to stream TV, I do it over Wi-Fi, so yeah, I'm not going to sit there and tax the network unnecessarily. I'm paying for my service and I'm happy with it. Why do I feel the need to abuse it? Like you said, Terabytes is just ridiculous. All right, let's see here. Pete says, I do need a device for travel. All right, if you're going to be traveling on the T-Mobile network, you're going to have to get a Band 71 device. Uh, Otherwise, I would actually say try a different carrier, either AT&T or better yet, probably Verizon. Yeah, Pete. I mean, if you're using a terabyte at home, it's because you're watching TV, right? You're downloading files. You're doing what you need for work. You're watching movies. Terabyte's easy to hit if you watch a lot of TV. I get it. Um, I'm assuming people that use a terabyte of mobile data must be using their phone or their smartphone for their primary TV usage. So, other than that, I don't know how else you could do a terabyte. Let's see here. Jamie Daly's in the house. What's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Glad you could make it. Big shout out to Jamie Daly's Absolute Sports. The boy got a new channel. That boy good. He's got some good opinions on some sports takes. He covers all major U.S. sports. He's got baseball, MLB. He's got NBA. He talks hoops. He knows his stuff. NFL. Big Browns fan. Nah, he's a Steelers fan. But yeah, go ahead and check out his videos. Jamie Daly's Absolute Sports. That boy good. Hey, Jamie, I'm still looking at a collab. Waiting for that invite, man. Podcast. We should get something going there. Oh, and let me ask you guys: would you be interested in a podcast involving me and sports and somebody else, specifically Jamie Daly's Absolute Sports? Pete says World Cup 2012. I use 64 gigs of data in a month. That's expected, I'd say. Now, Pete, if you do go Xfinity Mobile, I believe they do have 480p video resolution restriction, so your soccer matches ain't going to look that great. Oscar says, I'm wondering if phones would still be working as soon as 5G hits. Yeah, the phones will be working fine. 4G LTE is still going to be anchoring our networks. Christian, glad you could make it. Don't worry the fact that you're late. You are not late. We got an hour to go. So Jamie's looking to be buying a mic. Jamie, let me ask you something. How does my mic sound right now? Because if I sound good to you, I could recommend the one I'm using. Let's see here. Pete's not going to be watching TV while driving. Hey, if this mic sounds good, man, I'll get you one. You're going to have to pay me for it, but I'll order it for you. Let's see here. Yeah, I just got this mic, so before I was using my headphones and they're not comfortable, and I don't really like Bluetooth connectivity all that much, so I wanted a wire and I wanted a condenser and a mic, so that's where I'm at. All right, so Jamie, what's going on, man? We gonna do this collab? What's up? Oscar says, thinking about upgrading to the Stylo 4 or Moto E5 Supra. Now, Oscar, I believe the Moto E5 Supra is a Cricket exclusive. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it is. Yeah, Jamie, we got to do a collab, bro. Got to. I think we can make a pretty good podcast. Let's see here. Hey, Jamie, how are the Steelers looking in the preseason, buddy? Browns looking good. Got that Baker Mayfield. That boy good. Got the coconut water, guys. Delicious. I ain't going to tell you the brand name because they ain't paying me. Man, how you going to call it second take? You know they got first take, man. Call it second take. That's a straight up ripoff, man. Alright, let's see here. I know we got some Eagles fans in the chat. I know we got some Cowboys fans in the chat. I think Soul J, Joel, he's a big Cowboys fan. Anyways, I got my fantasy draft coming up. I don't know what my pick's gonna be. It's like generated the order like 1 hour before, so I don't know what I got. But I'm excited for that. I've been watching the preseason games, seeing who I should draft. Thinking about drafting Tom Brady. Thinking about drafting Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley won it for me in like all my leagues last year. If you guys get a chance, Todd Gurley's where it's at, man. That boy good. I think Le'Veon Bell is gonna have a down year in terms of fantasy. Oscar's team is the Texans. I like the Texans. I like Bill O'Brien. I like Nuke. That boy good. Quarterback. Deshaun Watson. That boy good. Good team. Like him. Good, tough defense. Good players. Jamie, Cavs are not making the playoffs. That's a joke. Are you kidding me? LeBron leaves. He dragged that team into the playoffs, to the finals. Man, they ain't crossing the street, man. Kevin Love, really? I mean, don't get me wrong, man. Like, you know, Sexton's going to be a nice little player, but he can't take them to the playoffs, man. All right, Christian, we got a Packers fan. Weird coincidence considering I live near Dallas. Yeah, but the Packers are one of those legendary franchises that has, like, they got juice, man. You know, Packers fans, you find them all over the world, not just in the U.S. You like Browns fans, like Steeler fans, you find them all over the place. Oscar says, you Browns fans were lucky because you got 2 of our draft picks. How's that lucky? They were trades. Like, did you not get what you wanted in the trade? Or you really wanted Brock Osweiler? How'd that work out for the Texans, man? That sucks. He was horrible. All right, so I wanted to actually ask anybody out there, anybody interested in any of the upcoming smartphones? We've got the 3 new iPhones we're expecting here within a couple of weeks. We have the Google Pixel phones we're expecting in October, September, October. We have, God, what else is left? I think there might be a Motorola phone up and coming, maybe like an answer to the Z2 Force, maybe like a Z3 Force. That might be coming out, we don't know. Jamie, what would I like to do with the collab? I don't know, you want to do something maybe NBA related or NFL related, or we could even do something MLB, maybe something with like the Indians and the playoff push that they're going to have moving forward. That could be something good. Chanel says Hawaii has no team, so I've been a Dolphins fan since Dan Marino and the Marx brothers. Man, I remember Dan Marino, man. That dude was amazing. What a live arm he had. Dan Marino was awesome. Probably, yeah, he's probably the greatest quarterback to never win a Super Bowl, which is a shame. He was such a good player. Oh, yeah, Oscar. Deshaun Watson's great. He's a great player. He's very, very exciting. He's super, super exciting to watch. All right, so M. Keller says he's using 2 gigs of mobile, 20 gigs on Wi-Fi, and that's with downloading the 3 seasons of shows on Netflix per month. All right, so I don't even know what my Wi-Fi usage is. I would guess I probably use somewhere between like 50 and 100 gigs of Wi-Fi usage on top of my mobile usage. Jamie, we could do it remotely. We could use Google Hangouts. We could use something like that. We could definitely use some form of an app technology or something like that. We could figure it out. We'll talk more a little bit later. Let's see. Oscar says, "What's up? LeBron James moving. Turn back the Cavs." Man, I'm over LeBron, man. He can go forever. All right, so maybe this has never come up, but I just don't like LeBron. I've never liked LeBron. I don't think what he makes himself out to be think he's an actor. You know, I think he's full of himself. I just don't like and LeBron won a championship on my team for the Cavs, so, but I just don't care. M. Kelleher, you stream at 144p? What if there's letters? How do you read those on the screen? Come on, man. You're going to use 144p? Like, at least 480p. Come on, man. Like, you can't even tell who's on the screen at 144p. Let's see here. Delaney's in the house. Good to see you. Glad you could make it. You always pop in and say hello. I can always count on you, Delaney. M. Kelleher says, are you going to make a video about the Sprint Basic Plan? They said 5 lines for 120 for 18 months. I'm at 5 lines for about 100. Well, for 18 months, that's pretty good. But what does it become after the 18 months? That's what I would want to know. I think right now there's more excitement around the Kickstarter for Sprint. They're doing the single line $25. So actually, for anybody that didn't tune in earlier in the live stream, Sprint's reintroducing their Kickstarter, $25 for a line of unlimited data. Really, really good deal. All right, let's see who else we got here. Let's see here. Hopefully I say this right. Is it Chima? Hello, thank you for tuning in. Glad you could be here. And thank you for saying hi. All right, let's see what else is going on. All right, Chima, cool. Glad you could make it. Thank you for being here. Man, I haven't even checked the time update. What are we at? We're at 1 hour, 18, 19 minutes. All right, so the plan was to give you guys at least 1 good hour of live stream. We've done that. We've actually exceeded that. The live stream is pretty strong, so I'll go ahead and stay on for a while longer. As long as you guys, things are going well, we'll just proceed. Princess and the wife are doing fantastic. Trying to get the live stream at a time where, you know, we don't have to be disrupted too much by the princess. She could be a handful sometimes, especially if she doesn't get her nap. M. Keller says the one thing I should end T-Mobile cheapo carriers like Mint Mobile, people should pay at least $30 for Metro. Yeah. Julia who? I know a few Julias. All right, well, glad you can make it. Thank you. Say hi back to Julia. Chima says, or asked, did you get the Note 9 yet? Nope. I will be passing on the Note 9. I think I'm going to lay low on my smartphone purchases this year. I think I'm going to wait till next year to upgrade. I think for the sake of the channel, I'm going to wait to upgrade to a 5G phone, even though 5G won't really be very substantial, and I'm hoping that 5G comes to Cleveland, you know, relatively quickly. But if I do upgrade soon, I think I'll upgrade to the Galaxy S10, or I may wait for the next generation Pixels. I'm going to have to pass on the Pixel 3. The thing is just so ugly, the Pixel 3 XL. I can't do it. But yeah, the Note 9 is a great phone. I'm just not going to dump $1,000 into a phone. I just don't do that. Just can't do it. Against my principles. M. Keller, I don't think you understand the whole idea behind these MVNOs. These MVNOs are paying the carriers. And some of these MVNOs are owned by the carriers. So the money is there for them. They don't care how they sell their service. They don't care if another company makes a little money in the process. They're ultimately getting their money. So they don't care. I'll tell you what, M. Keller, they're not really getting free stuff. They're getting themselves locked into their carriers. So nothing's truly free. Pete says, I'm hoping 5G comes to Denver market on T-Mobile. Uh, Denver, they should be one of those kind of like middle markets. They probably won't be one of those first cities, but they'd be the type that would go, you know, like kind of like the second wave, third wave. Denver's, I mean, it's a big city, but it's not New York, it's not LA, it's not Chicago, it's not Miami, it's not Houston, you know, it's not Boston, it's not Philly. So I think those will be the places that'll be getting that mobile 5G first. A lot of those places. But Denver is probably going to be part of that second wave, third wave. I'm hoping Cleveland's a part of that second and third wave too. Probably more like third wave. Sprint's getting 64 in the download in my area. Don't know why people say it's slow. The reason you don't know why people say it's slow is because it's not slow in your area. If you come to Cleveland, you will see that Sprint's network in several places throughout the city is in 3G constantly. And I think in 2018, for a cellular provider to be dealing with 3G issues, I think that's kind of sad. But they are improving and they're getting better. And I know there's some markets where Sprint is very strong. I understand. But there are some markets where they struggle. And, you know, people deserve a faster network if they're paying premium prices. Pete says, I'm expecting 2020-ish. So I'm guessing you're talking about Denver 5G. I think that's kind of like being optimistic. I'd like to see 2020 a lot of, you know, middle America cities getting 5G. I could see Denver getting it by 2021. Some of those similar type size cities getting it by 2021, 2022. 2023, I think 5G is going to be much more substantial. I think a lot of markets will have some form of a 5G network as opposed to just strictly fixed 5G. So, you know, give it some time, 4 or 5 years. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Let's see here. M. Kelleher says, Spectrum, my local home internet provider, has taken away the feature to check how much data you've consumed. I like checking too. I like to see what my usage is. And actually, I think it's good practice to see what your usage is, because maybe you're using too much. Maybe you want to back off a little bit, watch less TV, stream less video, kind of get away from it. DGAF says, anyone hear anything about Layer 3 TV yet? Nothing concrete. I have heard that some people have been seeing Layer 3 TV promotional material inside of T-Mobile stores. So that's actually a good sign. When you start seeing promotional items, you start seeing the name there. They're trying to get the brand recognition out. That's a good sign that it's just around the corner for announcement. So, I don't know. We'll keep our eyes and our ears open. M. Keller says, I watched one of your videos last week while at the office, and it was showing you how much that you were currently pulling down streaming video. What is that? So that's actually a YouTube setting. If you go to the dots up in the right hand corner, or not the dots, the settings, which is like up where your name is, and it says enable stats for nerds. It's in the settings. It'll give you like how much bandwidth you're using, how much data usage it is. That might be something you want to look at. I think that's what you mean. You know what, M. Kelleher? Moto phones are awesome. They make great devices. Their radios are strong. The call quality is really good. Their LTE speeds are good. They make a really good phone, actually. Yeah, Pete, I haven't seen anything other than some of that promotional stuff online, like people taking pictures of some of it in stores in some markets, not even in all markets. Like, I don't see any Layer 3 TV promotional stuff. I checked in Detroit when I was there, and I checked all over Cleveland, and I'm not finding anything here. Oh, I'm sure, Chanel. It's easy to use a lot of data when you're using a device for video, especially TV. You're going to be streaming 720p. You're going to be streaming HD. Some people stream 4K. I mean, that's a ton of data. And there are some smartphones that are actually 4K. So, yeah, it's easy to use a lot of data when you're at high resolution video. Ooh, M. Keller, you got the Galaxy Note 4. That's a good phone, man. That's a legendary phone. Pete, I appreciate that, man. Send it over to the Gmail address, steambubbletech@gmail.com. Much appreciated. Thank you, sir. All right, we are about an hour and 27 minutes in. Time to top off the coconut water. Need a refill. You guys can hear that? Sound of deliciousness. Pete's got a Note 4 in the dresser. Still works. Just doesn't put anything on it. You know what, man? The Note 4 is legendary. Seriously, man, that's a powerhouse of a phone. I miss the days when phones had removable batteries. I miss the days when phones had IR blasters. You could use them as remotes. I miss the days when phones were durable and they could take drops. You know, you didn't really need a case. Miss those days. Now everything's basically sandwiches of glass, and you drop it and it breaks. And the batteries are internal and you can't take them out. You know, it sucks. Edward Alex. Man, haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Good to see you. Haven't got a chance to watch any TV in a while. I thought I was going to have some time once school resumed, but I'm as busy as ever. A lot of planning, lesson planning. You know, it's been hard, man. It's hard to find time. Hey, babe.
Yeah.
We got to watch this show called Black Mirror.
I don't like it.
Oh, you know what it is?
Yeah.
What's it about?
I don't know, it's just weird.
It's weird? Edward Alex, I don't know, man.
A lot of people like it, though.
So, my wife's heard of it. She tried it. She watched a little bit of it. She knows people dig it. She does not. And you guys know, happy wife, happy life, right, babe?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, Edward, how's Ellie doing? Chanel says, IR blaster, that's why I keep my G4. LG G4 had an IR blaster? Okay. And with an 8500 milliamp hour zero lemon battery case, man, that phone's gonna last you a week. Sheesh. Yeah, Edward, I've been trying to get this live stream timing right. It's been really, really hard. I almost feel like maybe, you know, so like I'm trying to keep a steady time for the live stream, but I feel like week to week it's just hard to keep it at the same time. I've been trying to do it Friday evenings between 8 and 10. Today we got a late start, 9 o'clock almost, so, or about 9. So it's been tough, but I'm gonna try to be as consistent as I can. Cameron says hello from Utah. We got fans in Utah. Welcome, Cameron. Glad you could be here. Christian says single life is great. I challenge anyone to prove different.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Not funny.
Christian, I'm going to kill you. Edward says, disappointed with that T-Mobile did for the unmarried move? Uncarrier move? All right, Edward, so my thoughts on that. To be honest with you, everybody online, you know, people posting, all the forums online, everybody was pretty bummed out with the T-Mobile Uncarrier announcement. Honestly, I thought it was good. I don't understand what people want. Like, the Uncarrier has to be like some kind of a data plan deal. the uncarrier move has to be some kind of a earth-shattering smartphone plan. Like, I disagree. The simple fact that they're approaching customer care with an intricate approach, I think says something about the big picture about what T-Mobile's about. They want to be responsive. They want to be inclusive. They want to be the best customer care service provider in the nation. I think that's commendable. Customer care is so underrated. Everybody always complains about Verizon. Everybody always complains about Charter. Everybody complains about AT&T. The list goes on and on. T-Mobile is basically saying, we want to do the opposite of what they're doing. We want to offer the most responsive customer care possible. I think that's a huge deal. If you look at pricing amongst all carriers, they're all within 10%. Like, I walk into a T-Mobile store, the guy's like, oh, I'll give you your 7 lines for $220. Verizon charges me $240. It's a difference of $20. It's not even worth it to switch unless you know the $20 really matter to you. You know what I'm saying? But customer care could be the reason why somebody either stays or goes to a different company. So honestly, I think the uncarrier move was a big deal. People just want something tangible. They want some kind of either a smartphone or a smartphone plan. They want some crazy tethering. I don't know. People wanted unlimited tethering data. Okay, all that would have been cool, but honestly, customer service is important. And I think people are underestimating the value in that. I mean, have you ever been on hold for 20, 30 minutes and you have yet to really talk to anybody? It's the worst feeling in the world. Or when you call in for a problem and it doesn't get resolved. You know, it's like a dead end. So they're basically saying there will be none of that. I think it's big. Let's see here. Pete says the uncarry move gives people the perks I have and they don't need a business plan. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Edward Alex says that was already a thing though. I mean, it's been in testing for a while, but now, I mean, now people know about it, they're promoting it, right? Edward Alex says, does that mean layer 3 announcement will be another uncarry move? I actually think it's phase 2 of this uncarry move. Maybe they'll call it a separate uncarry move. I think it's more like a phase 2. Because they kept mentioning all the internet service providers and the TV providers. So I think that's why this was kind of phase 1. I don't think layer 3 TV is ready. So they were just kind of priming us for the second part of the uncarrier move. You know what, Christian? Like I said, a lot of people were disappointed with the uncarrier because it wasn't like earth-shattering. Like I said, there was no, hey, we'll give you 200 gigs before you're deprioritized. We'll give you 100 gigs of tethering hotspot. Like, that's what people wanted, but that's not realistic. Networks can't support that kind of thing. So, you know, all of that is kind of pie in the sky. And actually, I knew it wasn't going to be a smartphone plan or tethering data because T-Mobile's at the point now, guys, like, they can't just give stuff away for free. They can't just try to do this thing, you know, to make people feel like, oh, yeah, this is all about money. They have to be profitable. They can't just give stuff away. They have to be a premium carrier. There are still some people out there that perceive T-Mobile as a cut-rate, second-rate carrier. They have to change that perception. They're not going to do it with just like, you know, promotional smartphone plans. They have to do it with customer care and initiatives that set them apart from Verizon and T-Mobile, or Verizon and AT&T. So that's what they're trying to do. Well, no, I'm not trying to discount the amount. Like, I used that example. Like, my Verizon service, so like it's a $20 difference per month, but switching and all of that, like, maybe that's not worth the hassle for me, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. Plus, the service is better. Verizon service is better than T-Mobile. So I'm just saying, like, if I'm gonna switch, I need to switch for a reason. And $20 a month to switch to another carrier and maybe lose, quality of service is not worth it. Maybe customer service might be what I might consider. Pete says, I think I'll still get the business treatment of hello Peter when I call. Yeah, it must be nice. Must be nice. I'm not sure if that was with the taxes and fees. I don't think so. That wasn't the T-Mobile One plan he was trying to get me on. Edward Alex says, is that the new Samsung Galaxy S9 in your hand? No, this is a tablet. It's actually a laptop, so it's a 2-in-1 Asus Chromebook. They ain't paying me for it, so I don't want to pump them up too bad, but it's a nice little metal design tablet 2-in-1. Yeah, 2-in-1 tablet and laptop. I get this through work and I use it at home. It's kind of nice. I actually think they might be decommissioning these at my school, and who knows, maybe they'll let me keep this one. That would be cool. Chanel 808 says, my girlfriend pays $175 for 8 voice lines and 2 Apple Watches. Wait, so the Apple Watches are connected to LTE, but the phones are not? That's weird. I hope it's... You mean smartphone lines? I don't know. Alright, what do we have for timing here? We are 1 hour and 39 minutes in. Christian says, I've always seen T-Mobile as a carrier to start with before moving to the bigger cell phone companies. That might be a little closed-minded. Yeah, I mean, T-Mobile's not a second-rate carrier. T-Mobile is... T-Mobile's not a, like a bargain brand postpaid carrier. They're a legitimate big player in this smartphone industry and providing service. Just some people view them this way because they only know AT&T and Verizon. Trust me, if you ask the average consumer, they'll tell you, hey, in the hierarchy, it's Verizon, it's AT&T, T-Mobile's kind of like a discount, and Sprint sucks. That's like the same thing I hear all the time. Which is not true. None of those things are true. They're just misconceptions that seem to persist with people. Alright, let's see here. Alright, Chanel, so Apple Watches gets its own plan. What are they charging for Apple Watch lines these days? Trying to remember what they used to charge. Are you doing $20, $15 or something? Oh, Edward Alex, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I hit 1K. Man, it's been a few weeks. It was very, very early in August. I actually thought I was going to do it in July. But yeah, it happened like the first week of August. It was awesome. Very happy. I feel very blessed for all of my loyal subscribers out there. I spent like an entire live stream thanking everybody. So again, thank you guys. I appreciate all the subscribers out there that have been with me since day one, since 20 subscribers, since 100, since 500. I don't care when you subscribed. If you have subscribed, that's all that matters. I'm glad you're a part of it. Thank you for supporting the channel, watching my videos, rating the videos, sharing the videos, commenting. Yeah, your contributions to the channel, greatly appreciated. Let's see here. So I work at a school, and I often just kind of like, kids always have their smartphones out, and I'll just kind of like, sometimes I ask them, sometimes I just look in like the corner of their screen, and I could see their provider. And at my school, I'd say like more than probably 70 or 80% of people, of the students and the staff, either have AT&T or Verizon. I'm starting to see more and more T-Mobile, but there's surprisingly a good amount of people on Sprint too. So, but yeah, AT&T and Verizon definitely dominate the Cleveland area for sure. Edward Alex says, "Where is the 1K T-shirt at?" I gotta make some merch, man. I gotta make some T-shirts. I've been trying to get to that. I need a good design. I need to get those manufactured, made, and then get them out to people. Yep. That's good stuff, man. Coconut water. Let's see here. For those of you just joining the chat recently, the live stream, we were talking about Verizon's current issues with the whole firefighter issue, and how they're throttling a fire department during times of emergency. So that's been going on in the news. I do have an up-and-coming video as it pertains to prepaid carriers and the T-Mobile Sprint merger, so look forward to that. It looks like T-Mobile's kind of doing, I wouldn't say it's sneaky. They're trying to ensure that the merger is going to happen. So they're trying to actually get the prepaid carriers to kind of go along with the merger and kind of vouch for it and say they view it positively. So T-Mobile wants the merger to happen, obviously, and they're trying to encourage prepaid carriers to kind of speak in a good way towards the merger and support it. The thing is we don't really know exactly what T-Mobile's plans for prepaid is. So we don't know if Metro PCS is going to remain the way it is. We don't know what's going to happen to Boost. Some of that's kind of still up in the air. We don't know what the FCC, if they're going to get involved, or if the DOJ is going to say, hey, you know, you're going to have to give up these allocations of customers. You know, we just don't have those answers yet. So the DOJ has been investigating and questioning a lot of what the CEOs of those prepaid carriers, how they feel about the merger, and kind of what they expect moving forward. I think it's interesting. You've got a lot of customers on the prepaid side that are affected by this. Metro PCS, Boost, all the different MVNOs that are covered by Sprint and T-Mobile. So I think that's a pretty big story that's going to start developing. So I'm going to have a video on that. That's going to be a big topic. And, you know, I'm going to follow this Verizon story about the first responders, the fire departments. I want to see if there are going to be any fines coming to Verizon, and which I think there is. And I want to see how the lawsuit is going to proceed, because I would assume that the state of California, because of the representation of the fire department, I think they're going to be suing the crap out of Verizon. So I'm going to be looking forward to that. I'll be following those stories closely. Let's catch up in the chat. All right. Cameron says the T-Mobile store here in Utah at the mall on Sundays is always packed. Line out the door. Cameron, the reason why T-Mobile stores are packed is because they sell a lot of phones. T-Mobile customers love to upgrade. They've got the Jump on the Demand program. They offer great deals on Galaxies and iPhones, buy one get ones. You know, trade in your phone, upgrade, Apple Watches, buy one get one. So they run great promotions, and there's a lot of positive energy around the store. So they do a good job of getting traffic into the stores. Edward says, Band 14 has been sucking on my hotspot. Nighthawk, apparently, it's not allowing carrier aggregation till later this year. You know what, Edward Alex, we were talking about Band 14 earlier in the live stream, and that was one of the things I wanted to know is, does Band 14 aggregate any additional carriers? And apparently it doesn't. So thank you for letting me know. But Band 14 itself is good. Band 14, you know, you're probably able to get like 50 or 60 megs on the download. I don't see why not. Pete says T-Mobile's pretty good in Utah. Well, that's good to hear. I'm guessing that they have a lot of Band 71 support over there. Probably some good mid-band as well. So like T-Mobile in the Cleveland area, the coverage isn't great. I mean, it's not bad. Let me see here. But the speeds are really good here in Cleveland for T-Mobile. I know that. Super, super fast speeds. When you do have LTE, it's really good. Edward Alex says, I want 100 plus megs just to show off the expensive device. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be paying, you know, $250, $300 for a hotspot, you know, you'd like it to really hit some high speeds. But, I mean, what's wrong with 50, 60 megs, you know? I'll tell you what, Chanel, that's a good point. So the Jump On Demand program, it's not for everybody. I can't recommend it for most people because what ends up happening is, let's say you get in an iPhone every year. You basically are just renting a phone for that year. So you're paying $35 a month. You have the phone for a year, and then the new one comes out. You get out of your old one and into the new one. Well, in those 12 months, you've paid probably somewhere between $400 and $450 for that iPhone. So essentially, you're just renting the phone for a year, and then you get the new one and you do it over and over again. Now, somebody said, what's so different about it, you know, like how somebody leases a car? When you lease a car, you get peace of mind. You don't have to like repair the car. Yeah, I mean, if a tire blows out, you buy a new tire, and you do oil changes. Like, that's such basic maintenance. You put gas and change oil. But the engine is covered under warranty. They're repairing anything wrong with the powertrain. The transmission is covered. You know, it's peace of mind. Smartphones, if you take care of them, they're not like, you know, they're not really like cars. Like, and plus they're not as expensive as cars. Like, cell phone repairs, I mean, what could really go wrong with a smartphone that's not covered in a warranty in 2 years? So they're not that similar. I mean, I just don't like the analogy I've heard people use. And most repairs on smartphones are affordable. Some repairs on cars are not affordable. Like a transmission on a car. Say you got a 10-year-old car, it's got 150,000 miles, transmission blows. You're gonna need, seriously, $3,000 to $5,000 to repair, rebuild, or get a new transmission in a car. A smartphone, you can get a new battery for $40, $50. Say you break your screen, I mean, it might be $40, $50, it might be $150. It's still less than $900. And then, you know, it's not going to keep breaking down after that like an old car, so. Actually, you know what, that's a good question. For those of you out there in the live stream, what's your typical upgrade cycle for your smartphone? To be honest with you, I'm trying to think like, man. All right, so 2013, I had the HTC One M7. 2014, I had an Nexus. 2015, I had the Motorola Droid Turbo. 2016, I had the Moto X Pure Edition. 2017, I had the Google Pixel. And then 2018, I've had the Google Pixel 2 XL. So I upgrade annually, pretty much. I buy all my phones outright. So I look for a deal, maybe secondhand if it's gently used. So I guess I'm kind of an annual one. Now, I'm not going to probably upgrade unless I get a really, really good deal on like an S10 sometime in the middle of the year next year. But I probably won't be upgrading for anything else. I might consider the S10. I might wait for the fourth generation Google Pixel if it looks better and they stop ripping people off. They're just, the third generation Pixel XL it's gonna look hideous. I've seen the leaks. Now, has anybody heard about the Google Pixel 3 phones that have been getting stolen, and people are, I guess, just walking around with them, and people are taking random photos of them. It's really weird. Yeah, Chanel, I agree. Car lease and phone lease, they are totally different. Not even close. Edward says, still wanting for the new iPhone with Band 71 and T-Mobile. I don't know if they're going to have Band 71 in the new iPhone. I hope they do. I mean, I would guess that the iPhones are the best-selling model devices for T-Mobile customers. So it would make sense that they would offer Band 71. I hope they do. Cameron says, I upgrade every year with AT&T Next. And how does that work for you, Cameron? You pretty happy with it? Get you in a new phone. Chanel says, I upgrade every 3 years. All right, Chanel, so what do you have right now, and what was your last phone? All right, we're down to our last half cup of coconut water. And it looks like we are down to our last 7 minutes. So guys, go ahead and any comments, any topics you want to get to, got to squeeze in the last 7 minutes because I'm done after this. Let's see here. And where'd I go with the chat here? Ah, here we go. I heard not the 2018 iPhones, but the 2019 iPhones would have Band 71. You know what? I agree. I probably think they're going to go that route. I don't think the 18 models will have Band 71. But damn it, at least by 2019. There's just no reason why they shouldn't. I mean, hopefully they figure out their modem and processor decisions by then, too. They've been having issues between, like, Qualcomm and Intel and all that crazy mess. Yeah, Edward Alex, man, I'm all about the coconut water, man. It's delicious. Major key alert, DJ Khaled, man. Man, I can't stand that guy, man. I can't stand that guy. And Keller says, missed my Note 4. Can't pass half off the S8, though. Yeah, half off the S8. That's a good phone, man. S8's a good device. Now, it is getting a little older. We're going to expect to see the S10 in the spring of 2019, so I don't know. As long as you don't need, like, the latest and greatest, the S8's probably, it's probably good enough. All right, Chanel, so you had the LG G4, and then you went to the iPhone 8 Plus. Now, that's a big difference, man. If you're upgrading every 3 years, going from the LG G4 to the iPhone 8 Plus is probably a huge game changer. Yeah, you're getting a much bigger screen. Actually, no, it's not a much bigger screen. Probably slightly bigger screen, but a much bigger form factor, for sure. A lot better battery life, but you do have that big old zero lemon case, so I don't know. All right, so just in case anybody didn't hear it at the beginning of the live stream, so initially I was actually going to be streaming this on the new channel, which is Sneed Mobile Tech live streams. I have a dedicated channel now strictly for live streams. Next week's live stream will be on that channel. I'm going to stop streaming on this one. And the reason for that is I want a dedicated channel just for the diehards, just for the live streamers. So you can catch me there. What I'll do is in the next couple of videos, I'll put a link in the description for that channel so you guys can check it out. Make sure that you subscribe to it and ding the bell to be notified whenever I get those live streams going. Also, this week I'm going to be doing a couple of videos. One is, and I'll probably do this tomorrow, I'll probably do a sprint video either tomorrow or Sunday. I have a T-Mobile video also coming up. I'll probably be working on the script and the research today and tomorrow, so that'll be ready probably Monday. And there's a Verizon video, and then there's a little something from AT&T as well. So there's some big news up and coming, a lot of action. There's some network stuff. So yeah, definitely stay tuned to the channel. I've got some really good stuff up and coming. I'm going to continue to do the live streams. Hopefully I can kind of stabilize the days, you know, like Fridays and the times. I'm trying to get it between 8 and 10. This one's kind of late. I know it's almost 11 o'clock, and I'm going to wrap things up here. So yeah, make sure that if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you ding the bell to get notified whenever I upload content, so you are receiving notifications for that. Let's see here. Anything else I need to announce? No, that's pretty much it. So, I don't know. We got like 2 minutes. If you guys want to get anything in, go ahead and do that. I'm going to be ending the live stream here in a couple of minutes. So, any comments or questions, get those in quickly. And again, the new live stream channel is Sneed Mobile Tech Live Streams. That's it. All right, so it looks like we're all pretty much done. If there's nothing else you guys want to cover, if we've kind of got to everything, cool. Glad you guys can make it. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm glad you guys could be here. Thank you for the live chat. I had a really good time. Of course, it's always good interacting with you guys. Just to let you guys know, to remind you, you know, when I make my videos, when I have you guys, you know, request that you comment in the comment section, I really do want to know your thoughts and opinions on topics. And it really is truly the best part of the channel. You know, hearing what you guys have to say, getting the pulse of the people, it allows me to kind of understand where your perspectives are and how I can also tailor videos in the future. So, again, stay active in the comments. You know, I read all of the replies. I read all the comments. I may not always reply myself, but I try to reply to as many as possible. And of course, I read them all. So thank you all for your continued support to the channel. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for sharing them. Thank you for rating them, liking them. Thank you for being subscribed. And I'm looking forward to continuing to make good content for you guys. So 1,000 subscribers and going. And we're just getting started. So again, thank you all for tuning into the live stream. I will catch you guys on the next one. Hopefully I got a video for you guys within the next 24 to 48 hours. So be on the lookout for that. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.